Hey guys, welcome back to our Real Life Scenario. Happy New Year.
Oh, it popped off my ear already.
Dang, yeah, it's these little
Wow.
glasses are real tight. For the listeners, we have on Happy New Year glasses.
Yes, it's our last episode of the year.
It is the last episode of the year.
Hello, 2023.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a great year. Oh, there it
wow,
goes.
there
Yep.
it is. All right, let's let these go. Y'all get the vibe. You get the vibe.
Yes, you were
the
trying to
vibes.
do.
Yes.
No, we're super excited. Like, I want to get on my soapbox here.
Go ahead. You got this your podcast. Do your thing.
I want to get on my soapbox, but Rhonda is one of the people besides my wife who knew about this idea that I had.
Yeah.
And from the beginning of like having this relationship based space, didn't even know really what it was going to be at that point when I first talked to you about it. But this relationship based space that wasn't about this kinky, crazy relationship talk, but was really geared towards helping people. And it was just an idea. And I told Rhonda from the beginning because Rhonda has seen me and advised me through a lot of my situations.
True indeed.
Prior to my relationship with Bree.
Yes.
And I always felt she had great insight and, you know, everything that she was doing with friending. I just thought that she would be a great fit for what I had in mind.
Yeah.
And it's different to say if somebody's like, you know, ooh, cool, I think that's going to be a good idea. But for somebody to truly believe in you, encourage you, and then when that thing happens, they're like, yo, I'm here and I'm ready to do this.
Sure.
And put in the work and the time and the sacrifices to actually make it happen. So now 2022 that it's here and had the courage to just put it out there and launch it. And not only to do that, but to really build something great that we built with this show that, you know, it's only started in May. And maybe we missed 1 week, but to continually do it consistently, to build a great group of real lovers that listen to us every week. I think
the best part of it all.
The best part. Lovers, I mean, to go from zero, and I think at this point we're at close to like 20,000 listeners every month, like, and that's continuing to grow, and that's all under a year. We're not even at a year yet, even though this is the end of the year. We've only done this half a year, and I feel like we have so much more room to grow. And because of that, and all of our real lovers out there, and everything that Rhonda has done and brought to this, I even personally have gotten a lot of opportunities. I don't think I would have, you know, been able to do Red Table Talk or the stuff that we did with Charm TV and getting to interview really cool people and talk to really cool people.
That's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
Yes, this has been an amazing benefit to our lives.
Yeah. And being able to speak on the stage of CultureCon, like all those things came from what we've done with this show.
Yeah.
And I just first say, Rhonda, I appreciate you.
Thank you
for everything that you've done and will continue to do.
Damn.
And I appreciate our real lovers because without our listeners, like this,
it would just be
we love talking to each other.
It'd be our normal calls.
But, without our real listeners, you guys really motivate us. This is a write-in show, so literally without your scenarios, we would not be able to do this show and to give advice. And we don't take it for granted that you guys, you know, really take to heart our advice and see us as wise and somebody that can help you in your situation. I just posted on my story not too long ago that somebody said like this really helped me in my marriage.
You're gonna save my marriage. You know, they said you are going to save my marriage
with a minute clip, and it's like people think you do stuff for clout or you put stuff on social media to like get followers and stuff. It's like, no, that's the reason.
Yeah, for sure.
That the words that I say and from my experience and the things that I've learned can help somebody else not have to fall into that same trap or not have to, you know, suffer from the same things that I did. So I hope that we continue to grow to continue to help more people. But
we're going to continue.
We have had an amazing year.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you to our real lovers. And
you're welcome.
Please continue to share.
If you're
our
watching,
content.
You can see I'm trying. I'm fighting these tears so badly. Woo!
The lights don't help either, but please continue to share our content and even the 175 reviews that we've gotten
so far
on Apple this year is just everything just means a lot.
Yeah,
it's just
it does.
It's
I ain't gonna let you get on your soapbox and not get on mine for just a couple of seconds because I I can literally just say ditto, 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 ditto. But I just have to thank you for seeing me. And that has been such a theme for 2022 for me. As you know, things separate from what we talk about on here, just personal stuff. I've struggled this year with that. But yes, having this conversation years ago, pre-pandemic, of like what this was going to look like. You didn't know, I didn't know, but I believed in you, and that happened long before you decided to be a creative. When we were just co-workers, you always had such ambition. Even in that space, it was like, I'm only going to be in this role for this amount of time. I got to get to here, I got to get to there. You were always very ambitious, and so I didn't necessarily need to know the full picture. I just believed that between your own ambition and then that of what I was getting to know about at that time your girlfriend, then your fiance, who was a powerhouse within her own right as an entrepreneur, I was like, man, this gonna be great, and working alongside friends can be scary. Because crazy things can happen. Personal relationships can sometimes cloud business relationships.
For sure.
But this has been not just a pleasure and fun, but it's been an honor that you've considered me to be your co-host. I knew that this shit was going to be good, right? But I didn't know it was going to be this good this fast.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for you seeing me and believing in me. And obviously extremely thankful to our audience, our real lovers, our friends and family who scream from the mountaintops how much they love us, that shove cameras in our face when they come to our gigs like, look at this mom, look at this baby, look at that. I love everything about that, and I feel like we have done so much great foundation work.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty much up from here to the moon. So crazy opportunities have come out of this. I just did a great gig with Nordstrom, and
you did.
That was great. And
Nike.
And Nike, yes. I'm sorry. Nordstrom and Nike.
I mean, Nike's big. That's two big brands.
No, yes. That's why I'm like, let me be clear. So yes, it's been great. It's been great. We had to get some bubbles today because we have a lot to celebrate.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We ain't gonna let y'all see our tears. Tears of joy. Cheers.
Cheers. Yes. I kept them up there.
You did.
I kept them up there.
And cheers to you guys.
Yes. Yes. You deserve it.
To our real lovers.
For sure. For sure. Thank you for sharing, reposting the DMs. It's so many of them to like that are just like, thank you. You've given me new perspective.
I don't think people understand how much that means to keep you going. Like, although you can have something that's super successful as a creator, like getting up, setting up, like every time we record, cameras have to be set up. We have to drive to a certain place, and there's a lot that goes into making this all happen. But when you have somebody who's like, this changed my perspective on this, and it really helps me in my relationship, or you help and save my marriage, or these type of comments let you know that you're on the right track. It's like those signs and those flags that be like, okay, I'm going in the right direction. This is the way I'm supposed to be going. So those comments mean a lot. When you send it to us, when you send it to the Relationship Restore page, they do share it with us, and we do see that. So I'm just excited. We have so many things in 2023 with this show, not only with the show, but with Relationship Restored, that's going to be happening. A lot more live. We're going to do like live events. We're going to do lives on Instagram, stuff like that. But live events is something that we talked about doing a lot.
For sure.
And we're definitely going to do a Relationship Restored. My overall vision, for those who don't know, is I really want to create a relationship church. That's my goal. And I'm pushing towards that in 2023 for sure. So
more to come on that, because it's such a great idea. But I don't want you to tell them too much. I'm
not going to tell it too much.
No.
But that's exactly
amazing.
That's exactly what I want. So thank you guys for if you listened during this initial breakdown. But it's the end of the year, so we had to
wrap it up very nicely.
We had to wrap it up very nicely.
So I hope you home. If you didn't have some bubbly because we didn't warn you, just go pause it. Go get you some real quick. This will be a great end of year celebration episode.
For sure. So you ready to get into some stuff?
Let's get into some stuff. Our real life love scenario.
Yes. So you have the details of that. That's
I do.
Yes.
So a couple weeks ago, this is a little bit of some old news because news cycles so fast. You
Yes.
blink your eyes, old news in
quick.
2 days. But Lori Harvey was in the blogs recently, and it's alleged that she makes guys who she's dating sign a NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, with a penalty of $1 million.
Sheesh.
Yes. And I just was like, that's so interesting. And then, I mean, she was obviously, I feel like people were 50-50. Like some were like, oh my gosh, that's like so ridiculous. And other people were like, I think it's a great idea. So I was curious what your thoughts were.
What is that Meek Mill line? I got Lori Harvey on my wish list. That's the only thing I want for Christmas. It seems like people love Lori Harvey.
Yeah, she's a beautiful young lady.
She is a beautiful young lady. I think that is interesting.
Yeah.
For me, I can't see myself ever signing an NDA to be with a woman. But if that's her terms for dating her, then if you want to date her that bad, then that's just what you got to do.
That's what it is.
It's just interesting to me, the men that are just like, oh yeah, like, I just don't understand what it is that could be happening that can't be shared.
You know what I think it is? I just think all of it. It's not necessarily something crazy happening. It's that whatever we're doing, when we're going here, when we're going there, if I'm getting close to you, if I'm whatever, I mean, even if it was something crazy, I just don't want you to think it's okay to like sell that story to, because you got to take it out of, I think, like our level and put it on a celebrity level. There could be people that she dates that aren't well known, that maybe she is a bigger star than them, where they could get excited about running and telling someone. And the truth of the matter is the press will actually sometimes buy that stuff. They will pay you to tell some story, especially if you can prove it.
And I think honestly, with somebody like her, it's probably just now becoming like a public thing with her. But I'm sure this is not the first time somebody's done this.
No.
If you ever been to, because I've been to parties and you have been to big ones too, where you have to sign something as soon as you go into that party. Even certain parties leave your phone right here.
Absolutely.
Like it's shut down. Like you can't. Nothing.
One of the ones that sticks out for me the most when I went to the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for sure. You can't, they weren't here. It's pretty much that's it. You can only talk about it to the folks that's in this room. That's it. So I do get it, and I respect it, and I think even if it's a new thing, because it feels like it's a new thing, like this wasn't always the case.
Yeah,
I feel like because we know so little about her, and what we do tend to know about her the most is who she's dating and when she's dating someone. I feel like she's putting it in place to protect herself because she's getting so critically judged for what she's doing in the dating space, which for me is like
normal.
It's normal.
That's the thing that I don't understand about a lot of celebrities, even how people forget about what you think about them, the Kardashians at times too. It's
such a great example.
If you look at the normal person and their dating history and stuff like that, it's like, look at Khloe. Khloe was married.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting divorced and dated a few people, and it's like, and had relationships, but it's like, is that really much different than the regular person who, and how old is Khloe?
She's in her 30s.
Yeah, she's like, this is normal behavior, but just because somebody's on this pedestal and on this platform, I guess to a certain extent, you're trying to judge them for their relationships. And I'm like, yeah, it's not, I feel like that with a lot of public celebrity things, even Will and Jada, which a lot of people give them flack for and stuff like that. I'm like, I guarantee you talk to people who's been married as long as they have been.
Okay.
It's some stories.
Okay.
That you are like,
for sure. Put them in 2 separate rooms and say whatever you say will never get shared with your partner. But I bet you it's a whole lot of entanglements going on out here. Okay, it ain't just them ones in Will and Jada's house.
It's like, but people judge these people so much because they're open and they share these things, and I'm sure them sharing does help people. It makes them look maybe a certain way to the public. But when I look at these things, I'm like, I know a lot of people, and I know what a lot of people have done,
and I know what I've done.
I know what I've done.
Correct.
At times, and it's like,
we the same. We are the
It's
same.
not that much
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
You know?
And in some of these celebrities' cases, it's like they are actually, in some cases, perhaps not the Kardashians, but in some cases, they are trying to be private.
Yeah.
But they are
That's
being
very true.
chased and stalked by paparazzi. So I'm not telling you I'm dating this person. TMZ is telling you I'm dating this person.
Even like the Good Morning America or the good is it Good Morning
Good
America
Morning
people?
America. Mm-hmm.
I'm like the paparazzi shots. Did you see them? Like one was like a handheld hold in a like car in New York, and I'm like, you look at the angle it's coming from down, you like, where did they shoot that from?
Probably
like
a drone.
Goodness gracious, like this is insane.
It's insane.
And it's like that situation that they're in, I'm like, I can tell you about 4 or 5 people who I know have been in something just like that.
Me too, Dre. Me too, Dre. Okay, I had to tell my girlfriend, and I had to tell my girlfriend one time, she was going off on Khloe Kardashian. I was like, sis, you dated the same amount of guys, literally in the same amount of time, and you ain't never referred to yourself as a hoe and none of these things. Like, she was like, damn, you're right. Yes, yeah, exactly. So relax. You're single. You're free to do what you want. Lori is single. She's not in a relationship. When she is, that's what we've known her to be in, a committed relationship. We didn't hear about no little side stories when she was with Michael B.
Very true.
We didn't hear about no little side stories when she was with the soccer player. I can't think of his name right now, but she was engaged to him.
Oh yeah, the dude. I think he played for England. I know you're talking about.
Yes.
Light skin dude.
Yeah. I'm like, we didn't hear that. Now the Diddy Justin situation,
Future.
but when she was with Future, that was a committed situation.
Yeah.
You heard of no little side thing. So
Yeah.
what is the problem? She's 20 something years old trying to figure her life out as a young woman. No babies. Even if she did, she grown. So I'm like,
if like you could, if you were dating and you were in this world and you could kind of get the most upper of echelon,
the finest, the richest
of type of men or women, like, wouldn't you? And with that comes publicity. With that
comes publicity.
It's like,
so I'm team NDA, because at this point you probably do just need to protect yourself from people coming in your space that might not have the best intentions.
and the reality is that also if she dates somebody on that level that she is anyways, they'll want the same type of, they may have even brought it to her.
Let's just exchange them. How about that? You sign yours, you sign mine. Like, let's do it.
Exactly. So
yeah, I'm with it. Go ahead, Lori. Do your thing, girl. Cheers to you.
You ever want to come on?
Yes, we would love to chat with you. And she has a very nice voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does have a very nice voice.
All right. You ready to get into our real love scenario?
Let's do it. All right. This week, we have a write-in from Taylor.
Hey, Taylor.
She says, hello, Dre and Rhonda. I was dating a guy for almost 3 years. At the beginning of the relationship, we had a lot of issues with his child's mother and my ex-boyfriend. I can admit I was just getting out of the relationship and I was in the process of healing. I know he has trust and commitment issues, so he had some challenges coming into it as well. His child's mother didn't make it easy for him, so this being a new experience, he didn't know how to handle it at the time, and we would argue about it, and I had to walk away. I came back to the situation, and over time it got better. We still have ups and downs in our relationship, and over the last few weeks he's gotten really distant, and that triggered me because of previous experiences I had. In my previous relationship, my ex would just shut down instead of just effectively communicating with me. More than anything, I feel like I didn't give myself enough time to see who I really am and learn how to be alone and do things on my own due to me always putting my man's needs first. I tried to explain this to him several times, but he wanted me and he wasn't having it, so I just dealt with it until recently because it's really bothering me. So we had another conversation about it and just the overall status of the relationship, and we mutually agreed that we need to take a break. He basically doesn't want the responsibility of a relationship right now, which I don't know if that's really the case. Don't get me wrong, I do want him in my life, but I just want to do things for myself and figure out who I am. I just really need some advice on this situation. Please tell me if I'm doing the right thing. I love y'all, by the way.
Oh, we love you too. Thank you. Shout out to the real lover, Taylor.
Yes.
I got a question for you.
You got questions?
Yeah, and the women who are listening to this can chime in. Have you ever been wanted to leave a relationship and been talked into staying by the guy? Like, kind of talked you into like staying in the situation? Because that sounds like what's happening here. And I'm like,
How
interesting that you're like, you want to leave, but you get him to talk you back into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, and maybe not like so blatantly, like, baby, please don't leave the relationship, but potentially saying things that will guilt you into it, like make you feel really bad if you left him. Yeah, like, you know, this gonna be hard. I mean, tears and all.
I would never do that to you.
All
How
the
could
things.
you do that to me?
Yeah, like I'm gonna die if you leave. Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't live without all the things. I mean, I've heard the I can't live without you. I've experienced crying. When I've wanted to walk away, but that was only with one person. You know, it was only with one person. But I've definitely experienced like what I would guess would call micro moments of guilt, where I am like, oh, I'm done. I'm never talking to you anymore. I had one guy tell me, no, you're not. Like, literally, I was like, I'm done. The text, his response back said, no, you're not. I was like,
what?
He was right. Unfortunately, I wasn't done. I wasn't done. So yes, in a roundabout way, yes.
Oh wow.
Because walking away from someone is hard, and so, and then when they bring in emotions,
what's the song? Every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I need you in my life.
See, so yes, it can happen. It's happened. I'm sure there are women out there that will also attest to that. So it sounds like that did happen. I think where I got a little confused is because I can't really tell if they're together or not together.
Yeah,
it's like I was in a relationship. They're basically in a situationship right now. Yes, like things are a little bit in limbo.
What stuck out to you the most that you feel like, I don't know, is something that
I think
is a point of emphasis to you?
Is absolutely knowing better and choosing to ignore that. You knew at the very top of it, she says, I'll admit I was healing. I was in the process of healing from my breakup, and we had just broke up. It's like, you knew that. She said they've been together for almost 3 years. You knew that almost 3 years ago, and you were still like, I'm gonna just keep going. And that has now that's basically haunting her. She was like, I dealt with it. I tried to tell him, but now it's overwhelming. And so it's just, to me, that's just a cautionary tale that you should not ignore that feeling when you know, like, I probably shouldn't be moving forward into something, because just because you choose to ignore it doesn't mean it actually is going to go away. It's going to keep coming back up. So I think that was the thing that stuck out for me the most.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that people need to understand, is that, like you said, ignoring something is not, especially in relationships. In some instances, you can have things to where you ignore it and then it'll slowly start to, you know, go away, or the problem will, you know, go somewhere else or something like that. But in relationships, you can't ignore certain behaviors or certain things that you need to work on, because it's going to rear its ugly head at some point.
Absolutely.
And probably come at more of a, you know, more intense way in your relationship if you do that. Yeah. I just find it interesting when it comes to like healing and trying to heal on your own. I know a lot of people, when they give relationship advice and stuff like that, they always are like, you know, break up with the person, break up with the person, break up with the person. It could never work that way. And I'm starting to realize that a lot of times, like I always say that you shouldn't choose a person. You should choose a happy, healthy relationship and find a person that aligns with that. But I realize that a lot of people do choose the person.
Yes.
And they're not asking for the actual advice of should they leave or should they not. They're trying to figure out how to manage this messed up situation, because they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
This is the person that they want to be with.
Yes.
And what I realize is that there are a lot of, what they say, a lot of ways to skin a cat.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different directions that you can go to get to a destination. Some of them are the easy way, to where it's a little bumps in the road, but it's pretty much smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Some of these other ways, you going up, down hills, through mess, through train. Like, you might gotta lose a tire, throw the spare on, roll that thing up, like, and
Hop
you may not even
rocks.
make it to the end.
Yeah.
Some people, low percentage, end up doing that, but the amount of scars and damage and issues that you have once you get to that place. So it's
not even, it don't even feel like a reward anymore.
It don't even feel like a reward. No. So it's like, can it work? Maybe.
Maybe.
It could, if you want to go the route of still trying to be in a relationship with somebody while you're trying to heal. Could it? possibly.
Yeah.
But most of the time, will it be beneficial or helpful for you or a good experience?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And the only saving grace a lot of times is if you truly have a partner who's super duper mature, has high EQ, has a lot of patience, and can work with you through these things and gives you the patience and space and encouragement to work
Yeah.
through these things. But if you don't have that, and that person that you're with has just as many issues or has its own set of issues that they need to work out too, it's what's the saying, the blind leading the blind.
Yes, it
And
is.
y'all gonna go right into a hole or to a wall, and
That's gonna be that.
That's
It's gonna
gonna be
blow
that.
up. It's gonna explode, and that's the worst thing that you can have. From personal experience and being on a just self work journey for years. I want people to know, and I was gonna point this to women, but I feel like it's applicable to all. That we often think, because we hear people say things like, I think about Steve Harvey. Speaking of Lori, think about Steve Harvey. Well, you've heard him many times credit his wife for saving his life. He'll say that, like, this woman saved my life. She changed my life. And so because we hear people exalt their partners for being really integral in like changing them or healing them or loving them into where they are today, I just don't think that we should get too hung up on that, because you don't know what that actually means unless you know that couple. The truth is, no external love can fix that hole in your heart. That is self-work. The external love is extra. It's the whipped cream. It's the cherries. It may in fact be something more integral in your sundae. It might like actually be the milk, but the milk has to be churned. The sugar has to be added in order for you to have ice cream. Like, you have to do the work on your own. No one can love you into healing. No one but you. The highest form of love is in fact self-love. And we talk about it a lot more now because it's more popular to say that. But I mean real love. Like, no matter if I got the external validation or not, no matter if I had a partner to support me through this journey or not, I am going to do the hard work on myself to get the whole as healed and sealed up as it can be, because some holes will forever have a Band-Aid on them. Some holes will fully close and it'll heal up like you never seen it before. But that all comes from within. And if you have been healed because of external validation, or you believe that you have been healed before external validation, to me, that just means that you haven't hit the trigger to reveal that you're not fully healed yet. And so I hope that people really understand more than ever that, like, it's all from the inside. And the best way to get your healing is from the inside. I had an emotionally immature moment last week, and I called you about it. And your advice was great. And I had already tossed around, choosing to go low or choosing to go high. Because sometimes Michelle Obama, I am the person that likes to go to hell. Okay, sometimes
I don't know, Michelle being kind of open now. She
Michelle
goes off.
Michelle go low. She's saying this is just the rule, but sometimes there are some exceptions to the rule. But I had that moment, and what you don't realize about doing healing work is you don't know if you are healed until you are put in a situation to use the tool.
That is correct.
You can go to therapy all you like. You can sit there for years and years and years and never be triggered. Nothing comes up.
I remember a coach I had, or a pastor I had, said, we're all like tea bags. You don't know what's in us until we're placed in hot water.
That's it.
Bar.
You don't know until you are tested.
Yes.
That's when you know if you have really done the work and you are really in a good space. And so, you do the work and get on the journey, read the books, talk to therapists, do whatever it is you need to do, but be prepared. Don't lose sight of those tools. It's literally like a tool bag you have to carry with you. And so I'm glad that I chose to not sink into that emotionally immature moment, because I would have regretted it. It would have satisfied me momentarily to be like, it would have totally satisfied me in the moment. But what would have come of it, especially at that time, I was on the precipice of about to do something really major. And had that not gone the right way, that conversation went left, and I didn't have the tools to get back into a good headspace, I would have gone into to date is the biggest gig of my career so far.
Yeah.
In a really negative headspace. I couldn't allow that to happen. And so one, thank you, but just using that as a point that you got to do the work so that when these things come up, you know how to handle them. And she and Taylor in this situation, she was in her process, but then you interrupted your process by getting into something that has almost caused whatever you were doing. It caused you to regress. It caused you to go backwards. And so, of course, your relationship is not working out the way it's supposed to because you aren't finished.
Yes,
you aren't done.
I love that. I don't know if we have any new listeners to this show just now who are listening to this episode, but I'm going to give you a Dre cornerstone that I say all the time and will always say because it's a cornerstone of my belief when it comes to relationships. A relationship is not two halves coming together. It's two wholes growing together. You shouldn't have somebody that's completing you in your life or in relationships. You need to come to the relationship complete. And I've said in past episodes, that does not mean that you don't have scars.
Surely.
Because scars are wounds that have healed. It doesn't mean that you don't have something there that shows you like, oh, I ain't gonna do that again. And you know, if it's agitated again, it could pop up. Like scars are something that are natural when you go through things and you get wounded and you know you get hurt. Those things have to heal, and they're there to remind you that you shouldn't go down that route anymore. But going into a relationship not whole is just so dangerous because, like you said, if you have somebody there helping external things helping you fill those holes, what that then creates is a dependency on them.
A really unhealthy one.
A really unhealthy dependency. So now you can't leave them or you're scared to leave them because you needed them to help build up your self-esteem. You needed them to, I don't know, financially support you in a certain way, or you needed them to, like I said, make you whole in some type of way.
Beautiful, make you feel sexy.
Make you feel sexy. Like all these different things. You need this person so you didn't come into the relationship whole. You came into the relationship with so many holes within you that you needed them to fill it. And they did fill it to a certain extent, whether the best way or not the best way. We've seen certain patch jobs that are good and certain patch jobs that aren't very good, to where it's still water leaking out of there and everything like that. But they filled it nonetheless. And instead of you ripping those things off, and sometimes that may mean taking on a little water and stuff like that, like as you're trying to settle yourself and understand what you need to do, and it might be a big flood of emotions, but you need that time to take to yourself to just heal. And what I learned also about people is that a lot of people don't really know themselves very well. So taking the time to learn yourself, I think, is one of the best things that you can do. I forgot somebody, it was a quote that somebody had, I don't remember what it was, but it just talked about self-awareness, and the ability to be able to self-evaluate is one of the best skills that you could possibly ever have in your life, because once you learn yourself, then you know how to operate with other people, how other people should operate with you. You can even give instruction better to those people who are in partnership with you and who are in relationship with you of how to deal with you once you know yourself. But I remember those times where I realized I didn't know as much about myself that I thought I did. And I was like, oh, I don't like that, or I'm not good at that, or I thought I was a really thoughtful person, but maybe I'm not as thoughtful of a person as I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks sometimes because you're revealing things about yourself that even maybe you thought to be true. And it's like, whoa, I'm not good at that, or I don't do the things well that I thought I do. And it's difficult, but I think it's completely necessary because the benefit definitely outweighs any cons that could ever come from that.
Like imagine athletes, like you're an athlete, and a big part of that is reviewing tape. And that's not just to see what the other players are doing, it's to see what you were doing. It was to see how you were reacting in those situations. If y'all have been watching this show from the beginning, I think our very first episode, I tried to use. I tried to. I was like, audibles. You was like, I mean, I guess sure. If you want to do audibles, we can do audibles. So I'm not the sports girl.
No, that's right.
But the tape is not just for you to see what the other team is doing. A lot of it is to see what you are doing. It's to show what you did well and what you did not do well. And that's what makes you a better athlete. It's what makes you a better player.
For
No
sure.
different in real life. You have to look at situations and be like, okay, yes, it's very easy to be like, he did this and he did that and his ex did this and da 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 da. What were you doing? What were you doing when these plays were being ran? How were you reacting? What were you speaking up? Were you not speaking up? Were you checking in? Were you checking out? Where were you in the game? Your head was not in the game. And I think that's a great way to overall kind of say this. Neither one of their heads were in the game. They both came into a championship game fully unprepared for it.
That's one thing I had to learn in marriage with Bree is that like you have to, that self-evaluation is so important. It's like you could have a situation. I could be like, all right, Bree blew up on me. Like she blew up, got mad, stormed out, slammed the door at me, all this stuff like that. So then I had to look back at myself and say, all right, you already know that she has trouble dealing with her anger sometimes. Was there something that you could have did in that conversation for it not to get there? She was wrong for yelling. She was wrong for slamming the door. She was wrong for maybe saying something that wasn't nice of her or wasn't, a way that she should speak to you. But in that moment, was there something that you could have did differently?
Yeah.
And it's not absolving the other person.
No.
It's just you trying to be better in every situation and having a partner who struggles with something, trying to deal with them better and help them better and handle them better. That self-evaluation becomes so important in things like that.
Yeah. Before you can start holding other people accountable, you got to get really good at holding yourself accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think earlier you had talked about like working on yourself when you're single, and I think I don't know, people love is great. It's great, but love is not. I know people equate it to like a drug, and I feel like that's lust. Like lust is like a drug. That's that dreamy,
euphoric, you're just like, oh my God,
feeling that you just. Love, the satisfaction of love is almost like having a nice body or rock hard abs. It doesn't come without putting in that work.
Right.
Like you had to diet for months. You had to go to the gym every day and hit the treadmill every day. You won't have the euphoric high of having a nice body and look at yourself in the mirror if you never put in the work. It just won't happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same way with love and relationships. It's like you can't have this, like just because you find somebody that you like, it doesn't equal euphoric happy feeling. And somebody you say you love, no, you have to put in work in order for that to be the outcome. Like there's a lot of times if you work out at all to where you're on a treadmill like I want to do this no more. Like I'm tired, or you lifting weights like struggling, arms shaking, like those times aren't fun.
Nope.
But they're necessary for you to get the ultimate end result that you want, and you know that it's going to pay off in the end. You don't want to be eating broccoli, or you love bread, them Red Lobster garlic biscuits come out, and you like you at the table
like Martin on that Thanksgiving episode.
You looking at the biscuits at the table with your friends eating, you're like, yeah, I'll take the Caesar.
Let me just smell it. Let me just smell it. Okay, that's good. Take it away.
Take it away. You like don't even put it here. Like I don't even want it. Like that's the struggles. Like and you don't get the great body without going through those struggles and having that discipline and doing that work and putting in that work. And it's the same in love. Like you have to work. And I saw a clip with somebody recently with relationships. It's like relationships are work. That's why a lot of relationships fail, because they think
it's no work.
It's no work.
Cruise control.
It's constant work. I remember my cousin, he would always say like, whenever you walk into a room and somebody says they've been married for 20 or 30 years, it's a reason they get an applause. It's a lot of work that they had to put in.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not easy.
No,
like it's not easy.
Constant consideration, constant work, and work that is worthwhile when you're with the right person.
Yes.
It's a job that you want to do. It's a job that you get up to do, but it is still work. A person who wants a really great body is willing to get up and work for that every day because they really want the great body. They care that much about it. They love the results so much. It's like, if I got to go and breathe hard and be a little achy, and I mean, I remember one time I had a trainer that pushed me so hard, like I vomited, but I was in the best shape of my life at that time, so Yes, that
Then you went
analogy.
home, put on that dress. You was like,
Hey, what puke? She, her. Yes, yes, yes. It's us. It's us. We're here. So yeah, like that's real. I think that was such a great analogy, and I think so much of what we learn is so bad about how love is. I mean, and I think we may not be allowed to see it, but I think this younger generation, when I say younger, I mean like maybe 14 to like 22.
yeah,
I feel like they are in such a cool world right now where taking care of yourself is so promoted, is
yes,
so celebrated. I think there are probably more teens and young adults in therapy or pursuing this type of work on themselves much sooner than
oh
it
yeah,
was
for sure.
ever introduced to me, potentially even to you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so thankful for that because I actually feel like these people will be able to have healthier relationships in general, not just romantic relationships. They'll hopefully have better relationships with their parents and their siblings. They'll hopefully have better relationships with their friends, their coworkers. So many younger people that I know, like my nieces and all, they not with that work hard, play hard thing. They like, no, I'm working for what you pay me for, and that's it. You're not getting no more than that. Like, no, you know, their boundaries are just stronger around certain things, or they're much more intuitive because they're getting the tools so much earlier. And I love that. I of course, wish that I got some of the tools that I have now way earlier in my life, but you know, it's all about God's timing. But I do think we learn so much in such a poor way, and that we thought that it was, and not poor like money wise, we just
Yeah.
didn't learn it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And so that's why when you get in relationships, you do think that it is like the Snow White story. You think that it's like the Cinderella story. We talked about this a few episodes ago. Like some women just are so dreamy sometimes about relationships, not realizing that like you can easily get 12 months into something and haven't learned a damn thing about him because you're just caught up on, oh, he's so, oh my God, he just makes me feel so good. He's so handsome. Men can do the same thing. You know, you don't get to the fundamentals of things, and then you look up and you're trying to figure out why your marriage isn't working 10 years from now. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you can probably go back to those first 12 months and when you met that person, and what did you focus on? Did you focus on understanding how they think? Did you focus on even giving automatic grace for this person changing 10 years from now? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know going into a relationship, who I meet and ultimately marry may not be the exact same version of that husband 25 years from now, and I have to give him room to change and grow, hopefully in a way that we can grow together.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not, I pray that he's not the same man at 40 that he's going to be at 60 and 70. By then he'll be a dad and a grandfather and retired, and all the things that will shape and adjust like who you actually are. And one of the things that I want my partner to know is that the best way that you can show me that you truly love me and that you really want to make this work is to work on yourself. That's the best way you can show me that you really really care about me and you want to be the best partner, is that you know that that starts with you, that starts
Mm-hmm.
within you, because you can't just serve me and never serve yourself, because then you'll be depleted, you'll be deficient,
Yeah.
you will not be a good partner because you have nothing to give. You're
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just sitting here like, well, I mean, everybody else is good. I don't want that. I don't want a tired, emotionally tired man. I don't want a beaten down man. I want a man that feels really good about who he is on the inside so that he can feel really good about giving that on the outside.
Yeah.
So the best way you can prove to me that you love me is to love you. Is to love yourself first.
No, that's so important.
Yeah.
Bree just she found a therapist, so
Oh,
we're happy about
really?
that.
That's
She was on her
awesome.
journey because it's all about finding a therapist. Is all about somebody who you feel like matches with you,
Yes.
and can help you with your experiences and things that you're dealing with and going through. And I'm excited for her. She's excited to go on that
Good.
journey and tackle a lot of things. Because her and I had different upbringings, and
Yeah.
she has a lot that she dealt with not having her dad and just
Yeah,
all the
sure,
things that
sure,
she had
sure.
seen and experienced. So yes, that self work in a relationship, we all do it. We all all
all need
should do it in your
Yes.
relationship because it really helps.
And it's a lot of ways you can get it. You know, it's
Yeah.
not therapy is thrown around so much and everyone may not have access to it.
Very true.
But if you at least know, if you can at least recognize, and we all have things that we have to work on. Some of our things are the size of the room. Some of our things are the size of a penny, but you got to be working on them. So some folks can read, you find really good self-help books, or you journal, you do different things, you do guided meditations or affirmations. That might be enough to manage your stuff. Some other people may have to talk to professionals or, go to retreats, which is something that I really want to do. Not necessarily because I feel like I need to uncover something, but a lot of the times in my journey, I didn't know until I knew. Like the therapist just asking me questions and I'm just like, well, yeah. And then we hit something and I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, so sometimes you need to put yourself in an environment where whatever you are not sure about can come up.
Yeah.
You don't know. You may have to be put in that hot water.
For sure.
And I want
to tell people that, and because I know that I dealt with this with my wife at times, is that as long as you're still breathing and you're still living, there's always hope for you to change. Mm-hmm. No matter how bad your upbringing was or what traumatic things that you went through, that you're not broken. It may take work to help you get out of whatever situation or mindset or, habitual behavior that you have been experiencing or going through. It may take time, but you have, as long as you're living and breathing, you have time to do that.
For sure.
I remember times like my wife would get frustrated and she's just like crying, like, I don't know why I'm even doing this. Like, I don't know why. Like, I wish I had an explanation of why. And it almost feels like hopeless sometimes because you're not even purposely trying to do these things. You're not purposely trying to self-sabotage. You're not purposely trying to get angry. It just seems like it's programmed in you and you can't help yourself. And I think a lot of times when it comes to therapy and self-work and things like that, we often try to associate like a certain timetable or expectation of when this thing is supposed to be fixed or how it's supposed to be fixed. But everybody's different. Every situation is different. Every timetable is different. Like there's certain things even that I dealt with at the beginning of my relationship in 2018 to where now it's just now Bree is coming out on the other side of it. And it's like, whoa, that's like almost 5 years, buddy. And it's like, yeah, it got less and less intense, but I'm saying for her to really get on the other side of something, it took some time. Like it took different experiences. And one thing I learned, I talked about this, I was thinking about this in the car. I'm like, the biggest changes in my relationship happen when the most like traumatic things happen in a relationship. And it sucks because like what they say sometimes, like, about getting burnt, like sometimes you just gotta let them touch the iron and get burnt so that they know not to touch that anymore. You could tell them, drill it, say it 100%, but sometimes people gotta experience things and it has to have a bad consequence or repercussion in order for them to get on the other side of that and learn like, okay, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And it may take that, and it sucks to go through that sometimes, but a lot of times you end up, if you love the person, they love you, on the other side of that, you end up coming out even better sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. It's not, the work is not pretty or easy. A lot of times it does come out just like that. Like, oh wow, like this got crazy, and this is what revealed it to me or really showed me that I got to be more intentional about doing it. And I was talking about earlier, I wanted to share something and wanted to challenge you to share something. We talked about accountability and like being able to hold yourself accountable or know what your things are, and then identifying what tools you use to fix them or to work on them. So I posed that question to you. What would you say is your thing or a thing that you want to consistently work on or improve, and what tools do you use? And I'll give you a second to think about it. So I'll go first. I would say one of my biggest things is that sometimes I struggle with shutting down too quickly. I love to communicate, but that's not always my first. I go to it slower than I should. Sometimes I just get really quiet, and you can tell it shows in my body language. I don't have a good poker face, as my mom says. And the way that I try to combat that is to put myself in the person on the receiving end shoes. And that's one of the things that I hate the most. If I'm in a relationship with someone and like they're going through something or they're bothered with me and they're not telling me, drives me crazy. So I'm like, how could that drive you crazy when you're receiving it, but you don't think it's driving them crazy when they're receiving it? So when I feel myself doing it, I'm just like, okay, get over the hump, get over the hump. Even if it's just explaining, which I've done this in a relationship before, is that, hey, I am bothered by something, but I'm taking some time to process it. I'm taking some time to think through what I'm feeling so that I'll choose my words better when I express it to you. So I know that you can probably pick up on it from my body language or that I'm a little withdrawn right now, but I promise you, I'm going to share it with you. I just want to share it right. So, and that's a tool that I got in therapy, you know. So yeah, like I would say that's one of my things where I'm just like, I'm irritated, so I'm just gonna pout.
Got you.
Instead of talk. Yes.
Okay. Wow, put me on the spot here. Okay. What is messed up about me? I'm messing with you. No.
It's one of your things.
Things that I'm trying to work on in my relationship is being more open and sharing more about my emotions and feelings. For me, I don't.
I'm smiling because I'm not surprised. I feel like that's most men's things.
I don't.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I'm not a bad communicator.
Right.
Right. So if I need something, or I need to communicate something, I can communicate that very clearly.
Yes.
But I don't. This is the danger in not communicating your feelings and emotions. A lot of times people think it's the person knowing how you feel, and that's one aspect of it. But what I realize is that it can create a complex of like perfection and or
lack of relatability
or lack of relatability within your relationship, to where the person that you're with may feel like you don't have any issues or any problems or any worries, and they feel, number one, wrong for bringing up concerns or bringing up issues or bringing up problems. And then they feel like, you're perfect in a sense and that you don't have any issues. And then sometimes they may even try to manufacture problems or issues just to get some type of reaction or something out of you to show
show
me something.
Yes, yes.
See you get angry or see you get upset. So I realized that it's important to share that information, because somebody, especially if you have somebody who's going through something in a relationship that you're in a partnership with, and they are going through a lot, the saying is misery loves company. But I think that, it's tough for somebody who's going through something and going through a lot of things to be with somebody who they view as, or comes off as if they don't have any problems, or they can't relate to what you're going through.
Yeah.
And I learned that once I started sharing troubles that I was going through with my wife, and she's like, oh my gosh, I wanted you to say that. I wanted you to hear that. And it's hard for me, because just as, I don't know if it's just as a man, because I know there's some really complaining dudes out there who complain about a lot, but just me, I don't, in my head, I'm an athlete. I grew up as an athlete. We grew up with the message, like, if you're hurt, you don't play. But if you can play, like, either you hurt or you injured. If you hurt, you can still play. If you injured, sit on the sideline, you're not playing.
Yeah.
So that mindset, how that translates into my everyday life is like, if I'm not complaining about nothing. Like, if I'm sitting here and I'm on the field, like, I'm not, like, coaches, I don't want to hear you complaining if you playing. If you playing,
I don't care about that.
I don't care.
Ankle.
Like, don't. I don't want to hear. No. You here on the field. I don't want to hear that. If you hurt, sit on the sideline, and we'll get somebody else to do this. So for me, in my relationship, a lot of my stuff is like, if I was hungry, I'll go get food. I don't need to say it out loud or tell you I'm hungry. I'm gonna get food. If I am sick, I've been sick before, got up, went to the store, got me some NyQuil, coughing, maybe put a mask on, anything like that. And Bree's like, why didn't you tell me? I would have got that for you. I was like, I needed the medicine. I went up and got it.
Yeah.
But she wants to cater to me. She wants to be there for me. She wants to do things for me.
She wants to feel needed.
She wants to feel needed in those situations. So I've gotten a lot better at that, but that's something that I'm still trying to work on, mainly too, because even the things that I feel like aren't that big of a deal, even just sharing it with her, it would just, make her feel better. And it creates common ground.
Yeah.
So it's just me, number one, it comes being cognizant of those situations, because at times I may want to share those things because that's truly how I feel. But then at other times I may just share them knowing that it will make her feel better if I share it. Mm-hmm. So it takes me being cognizant and understanding this is the moment. Yeah. This is the time to where I can do this. And then also letting her know that this is how I would want her to receive the things, how I would want her to receive it when I'm saying it.
Yeah.
At times I'm maybe sharing, like I'll share things with her sometimes where I'll be like, I'm not looking for like a response. I'm just kind of throwing some things out there and letting her know. Because sometimes if you say something, it could hinder you if the person responds in a way to where you're like, that's what you thinking in your head. That's why I don't share.
That's why I don't say anything.
That's why I don't say nothing. Like, so, letting her know that is another tool I use. But that's
really good. And I think a lot of men probably feel that, especially men who are truly interested in protecting their spouses. Mm-hmm. And like being like, I got this, like, I don't want you to think for 2 seconds that I'm weak because I might have an emotional moment, or I'm sharing with you that I'm feeling vulnerable or weak about something. Like most men get really scared about that, revealing it too. Like you can feel the feeling for yourself, but you feel like, I got it, I got it. And sometimes the freedom in it is just saying it. Yeah. It's, you still got it.
I realize that.
You still got it.
It's like, I just want to make sure you're good.
Yes.
If you're good, we good. The stuff with me, I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Are you good? All right.
And that's not healthy.
And it's not healthy, but I feel like, especially as a man, as we talked about yesterday, it's in servitude of those who are following you, if you're leading and stuff like that, you're trying to make sure everybody's good.
Yeah.
Everybody's good. But it's like I said, the Red Table Talk thing is like, everybody's concerned about all these other people, but what about me?
Yes.
So,
and it's so good that you realize and being cognizant that you got to be worrying about you, right? And then showing people that I also need you to worry about me sometimes. And here's how you can. Sometimes it's just sit there, let me talk, let me just share. And that's it. That's all I needed from you. I still don't need you to make no moves. I still don't need you to chime in. I just need to get it out. Sometimes it's like, sometimes sharing is just, that is the thing. Just saying it out of your mouth so it can come out of your head, so it can come off of your heart. I don't need no advice. I don't need you to like go fix it or go do nothing about it. I just needed to lay back and say, I'm so irritated right now. Like when I called you, it's like saying it that I was agitated or hurt or bothered by it gave me some of the satisfaction I was looking for that I would have gotten by reacting to it. I just needed to get it out of my body that I was like, because I was sitting there like, oh my goodness, I just want to, but saying it out loud, it was like, it's out. It's out now. I don't need it. So that's really cool. And I hope more men had some takeaways from what you just said. Just sometimes feeling comfortable with being in touch with your emotions enough to share them. Yes, enough to say them out loud. So that's cool. That's good. See how we were just accountable? That's follow our lead.
It's the word for 2023, accountability.
Accountability. Well, Taylor, I know that we spent a lot of time talking about self-work, but ultimately I feel like she wants validation or wants to know from us if she made the right decision to break away from this situation to do work on herself. And I would say a resounding yes.
Yes, of course.
100%. I of course wish you would have done it sooner, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. You did it. It's not too late. That you know that you need to figure out who you are and what you want for yourself, because you will not know what you want for yourself until you figure out who you are. You can't even begin to get into that question until you figure out you. And whether he understands or not, it doesn't matter. Whether he thinks that's cool or not, this is personal, and you cannot be a good woman to him. And truth be told, he can't be a good man to you until he does the same thing that you're doing. So hopefully he finds inspiration in what you decided to do.
Yeah, it's not going to help either of you if you don't go through the process of healing.
Yeah. And
I'm just glad the first step of any type of healing is recognizing that you have a problem.
Yep.
And it seems like you're at that point already. So I encourage you to do whatever you feel like you need to do, whether that's meditation, whether that's reading books, whether that's watching videos, whether it's listening to a podcast like this, to do the things that help you gain perspective in order to get you in the process of healing. What I want you to also do is give yourself grace, because I feel like a lot of people do not do that enough, to where it's like, if you're trying to make a change, especially something that you've been doing all your life, something that is almost ingrained in like your psyche, it's going to take time. Like you have to be patient with yourself. And that comes with, you're going to mess up, and you're going to mess up again. You're going to mess up again. You're going to mess up again. You got to give yourself grace to know that, like, all right, messing up is going to be a part of this healing process, because I'm trying to combat something that a thought process that I've been working with all my life. So give yourself grace as you're trying to heal.
And him too. Give him grace too.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you guys have a happy New Year. The next time you hear our voice, I feel like a passer. After this song selection, the next voice you will hear after this selection will be none other than, after this podcast, you will not hear us again till 2023.
Yes.
A new year.
For new beginnings.
All the real lovers. New beginnings, like Dr. Lee. New beginnings.
We're so excited. We're so thankful for this journey so far. And make sure you follow us, on all the things, especially subscribing, sharing, writing reviews, but also on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cakes.
At Joyce Smith.
And of course, at Relationship Restored. And if you have a real love scenario that you want us to discuss on this podcast, you can write into us by going to www.relationshiprestored.com. Click the contact button and let us know.
Yes. Also, one last thing. And I love it that a lot of people do it. But if you don't know, and you're still here at the end of this episode, which is the real lovers, the real lovers.
The real lovers. The ones that DM us like, I love y'all.
The triple R real lovers. Every scenario we post on the Instagram page. So if you want to give your feedback, or like, people do that all the time, and it's like, this would be some really good perspectives there that people give on the scenarios on Instagram. So we post every scenario, just a scenario on Instagram, and these people who write in are really dealing with things. So I think that if you respond to it after listening to this episode, or even once it's posted on Instagram, you'll really help that person out. You'll help Taylor out and all the other people who've written in with their scenarios. We even one of our other ones, the guy, he commented on, we'll talk about it next episode, but one of our scenarios, he commented on one of the videos and said, hey, I'm the guy who wrote in, and gave more context to the situation after. So we'll revisit that on the next episode. So
cool. We love the updates.
Yeah, we love the updates.
Yes.
Sooner or later, we're gonna have people up here, so we got back and forth conversations.
I can't wait.
But we appreciate you guys. We love you guys, and we hope you have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year.